Yeah. Remember party time, people, so make some noise here. A little bit of noise. A bit more. Oh. Lame. Alright, so, you know, some people's years start off better than others. I knew a couple, they have a bakery store that burned down. Yeah. So their business is toast. Thank you. Their business is toast. It's a bakery, Matt. It's a bakery.
Yeah, we got it.
All right. I don't know.
Maybe you gave us pictures.
It is party time, so it's okay to even boo the jokes if you don't like it. It's also okay to cheer for them if you like it. Yes, there we go. Thank you. Thank you. All right.
That's it?
That's it. That's all I got for now. Just not too much. You have always leave it one more, right? All right. Let's get into this party time. By the way, Shannon made the graphics for us, and I was like, "Hey, Shannon, any chance we can get Jesus like doing the disco thing?" And she got Jesus doing the disco thing. So I thought that pretty cool there. So way to go, Shannon. All right. So we're looking at Jesus's his public ministry, kind of getting into that. Just celebrated his birth and had a great time at Christmas. So now we're looking at what did he do once he got into our public eye here. And so this first miracle happens at a wedding. And I wanted to share some wedding stats that just kind of blow your mind away, all right? So these are as of this past year here in America. 2.3 million couples wed every year in the United States. 2.3 million. That's about 6,200 weddings a day. Holy moly. That's a lot of people. Right, the average bride in the U.S., would somebody like to take a stab at it? Average age of the bride?
26. I said 28.
28, I heard a 32. A 23, what did you say? 25.3 is the answer, 25.3. And the groom, age?
33.5.
Everybody's like 30. 30. 26.9. So almost 27. Almost 27. All right. Think back. If you had a wedding, think back to your wedding. Did you have more or less than the average number, which was a guess, 178? If you had more than 178, I think you're probably higher, right? That's right. Very good. The money behind the marriage. Here we go. $72 billion per year is spent on weddings.
Wow.
Woo! The average wedding budget, you want to take a stab at it? How much? 2,500? Oh, 25,000? Everybody feeling pretty good with the 25,000? Yeah, it says 20,000. I saw a couple 28 that said 28 in there, so. All right, very good. $19 billion per year spent on wedding gift registries. $8 billion a year spent on honeymoons. All right, so, okay, and how about this? The month that most people are married in.
June.
Did you like Google the same thing I did there, Mark? June is first at 10.8% of weddings are in June. August is second. Who said August? Yeah, June and August. There you go. The least married in month is? You guys you're looking it up now. Yeah, January. January is the month. So. All right, so this brings us to our first party time with Jesus. We're looking in the book of John, chapter 2. Get yourself an app, pull it out. Let's get there. If you got a Bible with you, open it up. In John, chapter 2 is where we're looking at today. We're going to look here. See what he's up to. I call it party time because I figured a wedding is usually a pretty good party. Would you agree with that? A lot of funny stuff happens at weddings, I know that.
Yeah, a lot of funny stuff.
A lot of funny stuff. I passed out at a wedding once.
Oh no.
True story. I was 12 or 13. I was in the groomsmen and just passed out. That'd be fun, you know. I was shocked they didn't stop the wedding though. They just kept on going. Kind of rude. Woke up in the front pew. So I'm okay now. I'm past that. All right, let's look at this, shall we? 3 days later, There was a wedding in the village of Cana in Galilee. Jesus' mother was there. Jesus and his disciples were guests also. When they started running low on wine at the wedding banquet, Jesus' mother told him, they're just about to run out of wine. And Jesus said, is that any of our business, mother? Your words were mine. A little sassy there. This isn't my time. Don't push me. She went ahead anyway, telling the servants, whatever he tells you, do it. So 6 stoneware pots were there, used by the Jews for ritual washings. Each held 20 to 30 gallons. So somebody do the math real quick, right? 6 times 20 or 30. Well, how many gallons we got here? 120 to 180, right? Am I right in there?
Yeah.
120 to 180 gallons is what we're looking at. So Jesus ordered the servants, fill the pots with water, and they filled them to the brim. Now, fill your pitchers and take them to the host. And Jesus said, and he did that. When the host tasted the water that had become wine, he didn't know what had just happened, but the servants, of course, knew. He called out to the bridegroom, everybody I know begins with their finest wines, and after the guests have had their fill, brings in the cheap stuff. But you saved the best till now. This act in Cana of Galilee was the first sign Jesus gave, the first glimpse of his glory, and his disciples believed in him. So this was the first time publicly Jesus had done anything, where people had really seen his power. Now, if you look through Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, this is the only book that you're going to see this wedding in the book of John here. And it says that Jesus was with his disciples at this wedding. This was not all the disciples yet at this time. He began calling disciples to follow him. So it wasn't all 12 of them. So there were some there, but it wasn't all of them. So even though it does say disciples, don't think it was the full thing. But you know, that sort of does kind of point us in a certain direction because Jesus' mother was there, Jesus was there, and also these disciples. So I would have to label this probably as a fairly important wedding. There's some kind of connection right there, right? It's his mother and all the disciples he called to this point are at this wedding. So if we look at just the event itself, it must have been something kind of special. Something kind of special that they were there. And then for him to perform his miracle was really cool. And what's really neat about it is that Jesus took this everyday event. Now we just talked about, what, 6,000 weddings a day happen? So it's really an everyday event. Jesus took this everyday event and made it miraculous. Now let's think about that for a second. How many everyday events do we have in our lives, right? Jesus can work on every single one of those. Jesus can have a miracle happen on any single one of those everyday events. It doesn't just have to be the big events where we feel like we really need them. It doesn't have to be those really tiny events where we don't expect it. Everyday event. You see, Jesus took that everyday event and he made it miraculous. And what I really just like about this story is I can just picture, a bunch of people in a room having a great time. A wedding is a very fun time, isn't it? Uplifting time. You have family together, you have friends together, and you're celebrating love and the commitment here, right? And so we look at the story and the fact that he did it right there in this wedding. This is a story that reaches everyone. This is a story that any culture, any race, any gender, any demographic, any socio-economic subculture of society can identify with. Who went to a wedding last year? Anybody? Right, a couple of people. How about 2 years ago? I bet we wouldn't have to go back very many years before we got everyone in the room, right? That you've been to a wedding or part of one. Or somebody in your family there's a relation. But the story for the fact that it was a wedding is something that we can all identify with. So what did he do? He turned water into wine. He took something very basic and plain and simple and turned it into something wonderful. Wine, the most expensive, the most important drink of the night, if you will, for the wedding. And to see them beginning to run out, boy, that could have been a major disappointment to everyone there. You run out of wine, then it gets ugly real quick. And it's funny because somebody caught a picture here off the internet that Jesus was here. Maybe he's turned. It says water above these wine bottles here. I think maybe that was at Walmart here. But so Jesus goes ahead and he makes this miracle. And he turns this water into wine. And then they drink it. And then if you remember what the guy said, the host said was like, wow. Most people bring out the best stuff to begin with and then bring out the cheap stuff later. Right? That's what he said. He said, but you saved the absolutely best stuff for last. You see, the quality of wine was far superior than anything they had. Now think about that, how Jesus works in our life. When Jesus gets a hold of something and starts working on it, it's going to be far superior than anything you did have. Even if it's an everyday situation, Jesus gets a hold of it and he turns it into something miraculous, something far superior. You see, when it comes to it, when we're looking on this earth, and especially as we get into our new year here, I'm so glad you're all here tonight. To me, this is the best place you can do. The best place we can start our new year is right here worshiping God together. I hope Jesus is a big part of your 2016. No matter what it was in 2015, make him a bigger part of 2016. You see, Jesus is so far superior than anything on this earth. Doesn't matter what you got for Christmas. Doesn't matter what you're looking at, what you're heading for. Jesus is what we need for 2016. I got this really cool watch. But Jesus is cooler than the watch. Right? Jesus is far superior on this earth. And please, friends, there are people around us who are searching everywhere else. They either don't like Jesus, they don't talk about Jesus, they don't have anything to do with Jesus, but Jesus is the answer. So for 2016, Mark and I were just talking about one of our friends. We said we're going to hit him from each side until he gets his butt over here. Because we know that we want to bring him here to know Jesus and have a transformed life. That's what Jesus does. He transformed. Just like he transformed the water into the wine, he can do the same thing with your life. He can do the same thing with your friend's life. Matthew 19:21 reminds us, if you want to give it all you've got, go ahead and sell your possessions. Give everything to the poor. All your wealth will then be in heaven. Then come follow me. I like that. Are you going to give it all you got this year? Is 2016 about giving Jesus all you've got? That's a good challenge. You see, and I hear so many things, I watch Facebook, and I see all the people's thoughts, and you hear it in the news, and it's in the media, about all these different things of how people are going to attack 2016. Friends, if I can tell you one thing, it's about more than just being a good person to get to heaven. You must know Jesus in your heart. You hear that a lot, and that's a thing. Oh, I'm good enough to get into heaven. Good enough is a great place to start. But Jesus has got to be in your heart. It's got to be about Jesus. You see, in this miracle, this time, so we put the wedding together, we put the family, we put the friends, we put the mom there. We see joy and love in this miracle. What an exciting time. Now, a couple weeks ago, Jennifer told a story about my wedding where she waited 8 minutes for the organist to play the right song before she walked down the aisle. And I was up there cool as a cucumber. I knew she wasn't coming up until that song was being switched. You see, there's love and joy. That things are going to happen. Every time I talk with people who are about to, counsel the kids getting married, and I said, something's going to happen at your wedding. I don't know what, but we're just going to roll with it. We're just going to go with it. Something is definitely going to happen. Who knows, one of your groomsmen may just faint, Been there, done that. Might be playing the wrong song. But you see love and joy. In that setting, we see that Jesus was about helping the love and joy flow. Because that's why we just celebrated Christmas. John 3:16 and 17 says, this is how much God loved the world. He gave his Son, his one and only Son, and this is why, so that no one need be destroyed by believing in him. Anyone can have a whole and lasting life. So God loved the world. Jesus is love and joy. In Luke 2, chapter 10, we just read about. But the angel said to them, do not be afraid. I bring you good news that will cause great joy for all people. Jesus is about love. Jesus is about joy. There's one area I kind of skipped over because I wanted to save it to the end. We have the miracle, we have the wedding, we have the people there. Who was the person that said, hey Jesus, get off your butt and do the miracle? It was the mother, right? His mom, yeah. So his mother encouraged Jesus. I said, hey, Jesus. It kind of makes me think, was Mom in charge of, like, the food and the drinks? I don't know. Maybe she was in charge of that. It's like, hey, we can't let this run out. Come over here and help. Mother encouraged Jesus. And, I wanted to take a moment here to bring my mom up here. So Mother encouraged Jesus. I wanted to bring my mom up here. Because if you want to have a great 2016, right? She's old and frail, I get it. Oh, sure. Yeah, let's give her a hand. Come on up here. Yeah, just come right up here, and I'll let you talk into this mic here. So this is my mom, Doris Brown. Turn around and say hi, Mom. Over here.
Hi, Doris.
There you go. Something, I don't know if you know this about my mom or not, but kind of interesting story. She has 3 kids. I'm one of them. I have an older brother and an older sister, and I have a younger brother. So there's 4 of us. And 3 of the 4 of us are pastors in churches. And so I'm like, how did you do that, Mom? So I asked her, would she come up and kind of talk about it? Because we see here that the mother encouraged Jesus to do this miracle. So,
first of all, I want to tell you.
oh wait, okay, let's get this cranker over here. So
The rest of the story of him passing out at the wedding. Before the wedding started, our oldest son, who is 10, came to me with a couple of those little ammonia things, and he said, just in case anyone passes out, put these in your pocket. Now, Keith did not, and I don't know if he knows this to this day, that I had those, and when I saw him slump down, I went right up front there, put that in front of his nose, and set him down on the pew, and he sat there the rest of the time. So we were prepared. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that. I do remember the smell, and those that woke me up.
Okay, that's part of it. What's your question?
So the question is, I told you it was going to be a little long tonight, folks, didn't I? You got 3 out of 4 kids into the ministry. And we haven't actually talked about it, but I know it's crossed our minds. How in the world did you do that?
I don't know. I don't know. I've thought about that a lot, and people have asked us how this happened. And I think, when the kids were growing up, we tried to give them as many choices and experiences as they could so that they could make good choices. And we kept them in public schools. We could have done other than that. And I wanted them to be in choir. I wanted them to be in band. They all had to take piano lessons when they got 8 years old, because at that time you could read by the time you were 8. Now, I know they read much earlier, but all of them had to take piano lessons, and they didn't all like it, but they did. And Keith is probably, well, he is the best pianist in the family.
I'm sorry, say that again.
But he took a lot of it in college, too. The other 3 are very good, but he is the best. I have to say that.
Gary, we got this on tape, right?
But he took more lessons than he did. Also, they all had to take dancing. If you've seen the pictures of Keith with his little black and white shirt on, with his brother Kelly, Macho Man, that was their song one year.
Those have all been burned.
But we really believe that the kids need to have a lot of experiences. We did not really try to shelter them so much, because if they could see what was happening, then they could choose to do otherwise. Me growing up, I came from West Virginia, which some of you know. My father was, he had a set of mules, a team of mules, and he was a logger. And so we heard some pretty colorful language from my father. And I remember one day my mom coming home from church and saying, "You kids are going to act different now because your dad accepted Christ tonight." And from that time on, our house changed. So I had that kind of a background. And even growing up, after we moved to Ohio, I can remember at night, we knew when Mom and Dad went to bed that they were on their knees. And we sometimes would sneak in just to see, you know. But that was the kind of example that I grew up with. And when the church was open, basically, we were there. And so our kids...
Let me interrupt you just real quick. Yeah, as a youngster, I had a drug problem. I was drugged to church on Sundays, on Mondays, on Wednesdays, on Thursdays. Drug.
Except the day after Kelly was born, we went to church, left Keith at home. Did not realize until we got to church.
I was just chilling out, you know, wondering where everyone was.
But also we went to annual conference at Lakeside, Ohio. When I was began in United Methodist Women, I was pregnant for Keith, which was 1970, and from that time on, every year we have been to annual conference of the United Methodist Church at Lakeside, Ohio. Our kids were with us. We wanted them to experience this. We hired a babysitter the first few years to go with us and to take care of the kids while we were at Lakeside. But we wanted them to experience the worship services, to learn about the church, to learn the structure of the church, what happens in the church, and to be a part of the youth program. And every year they went to youth annual conference. Some years there were very few people from Otterbein that went, but they were always there because we expected them to be. And that has been a great experience. And with Keith and Jennifer's leadership in the youth, they have continued this program. And now our kids here are going to youth annual conference.
So just one more question, like looking back, if the church doors were open, we were there, absolutely. So I don't know if it's that, you know, I'm going to be in the environment and it becomes part of you, maybe is what happened with this. Young parents, even older parents, what advice might you give them to really help their kids, their family be involved in strengthening their faith, making 2016 like the year of Jesus type of thing in their home?
Family time together. There's a little devotional out there that if you want to use that for your family, or you can have your own prayer time at meals, introduce Christ into your life anytime that you can. Have them to church. Sometimes parents have to make the choices until the children are old enough to do that. And if they stray a while, they'll be back because they've got that background. Give them choices and encourage them and be with them. And you had the kids, you raise them. You don't farm them out to somebody else unless you have physical needs to do that. Also, we felt financially we had to support our kids so that they could be involved in things and make choices. And sometimes there wasn't a lot of finances there, but we thought it was important that we were the person doing that they didn't have to worry about going out and getting a job. But just giving them a lot of choices and a background and affirmation, and helping them to know that you are there regardless, and if a mistake is made, you're there for them.
All right, Mama's available for counseling sessions. She's back there, Dad, at their back table.
And babysitting. Yeah, Kelly's back there. He just sits and listens. But he's a good support.
Absolutely. All right, thank you, Mom, for coming up here. So whatever's going on in your life, we see in this first miracle that his mother encouraged him. But hopefully there's something in your life encouraging you. Maybe it's a step out in faith to try something new this year. But would you please remember, Jesus is ready to do something supernatural, miraculous in your life. And the question is, are you ready to let go? Are you ready to let go? Are you ready to step out in faith and know that Jesus is with you? Jesus is ready to do something. And if you look at this one last slide here, no one will ever, ever, ever love you more than Jesus. Doesn't matter what's going on in life. Doesn't matter what 2016 is going to bring you. You can fall back and know that no one will ever love you more than Jesus will. He's ready to do something in your life. It's time to let him do it. All right, let's have a word of prayer tonight. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for bringing us together. Lord, sometimes we look at our lives and think there's nothing we can do. But tonight, Lord, we change our opinion about that. That we know that you can take what we're doing and change it into something miraculous. Maybe something at our job, maybe something within our families, maybe something personal. But we know and we believe that you're going to do something miraculous with it. We saw what you did at the wedding. We know that you're here for love, you're here for joy. And Lord, we're ready to let you do your thing. We're excited for this new year, for what it brings. Let us be ready. Let us be open to what you will do. In the name of Jesus, we always do pray. Amen. Amen. All right, now our next act of worship is our offering time. On every table is a round brown basket. If you please make sure you put in your check-in card and then put in your offering for tonight. And then when your table is done, bring that forward and set it up anywhere along the front part of the stage here. I have a video to